What's going on, guys? It's Jedi here, bringing you guys another zombies video, and today we're going to rank every Gobblegum in Black Ops 3 zombies from worst to best. This list is based primarily on the practicality of the gums as well as my opinion, so if you disagree, then that's fine. Just don't go into this thinking this ranking is strictly objective. Make sure to get a drink or get some snacks because this is going to be a long-ass ranking video since we got 63 Gobblegums to go through. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight on in the video. Coming in at number 63 on the list is Tone Death. I would say that these bottom 4 Gobblegums are all the same with their effectiveness, but if I were to rank them separately, this is how I'm going to do this, so just keep that in mind. It's one of the whimsical gums that doesn't give the player any advantage whatsoever. It just provides some funny noises when the zombies are killed. This gum was introduced alongside Zombies Chronicles. It auto-activates when a zombie is killed for a total of 25 activations. It's a silly gum to use and really has no other use than to just have fun with it, so that's why it comes dead last on our list. Just above that, at number 62, we got Projectile Vomiting. This is another whimsical gum that was first introduced in DLC 3 alongside Grodd Crovey. It activates when the zombies are killed with explosives and lasts for 5 full rounds. It again provides the player no real advantage. It's just meant to exist as a for fun kind of gobblegum. So that's why it comes in at number 62. At the number 61 spot, we have Newtonian Negation. It was the second whimsical gobblegum introduced in DLC 4 alongside Revelations. When zombies are killed, they are sent flying into the air, and this lasts for a full 25 minutes and activates immediately. It is definitely one of the more fun whimsical gums introduced and has probably the most silly effect on the zombies. Overall, there's really nothing else to talk about this gum, so we're just going to head straight to the 60th spot. At the 60th spot on our list, we got Eye Candy. This is the fourth and final whimsical gum that was introduced alongside Zombies Chronicles. It lasts as long as the players want it to last and is fully dependent on the number of activations, which is 5. What it does is override the color of the map by putting them in a blander color while highlighting the zombies in a bright neon color. This could be helpful if you're playing a dark map and it can be hard to see the zombies. However, this is essentially the only use for the player, so otherwise it's just a filler gobblegum that just adds a layer of silliness into the zombies mode. Now coming in at the number 59 spot, we have the real Gobblegum starting with Always Done Swiftly. It's one of the first 5 classic gums you get when you first play Black Ops 3 Zombies. It does what it needs to, but it's not a gum I have ran ever since I was able to unlock more classic and mega gums. There's nothing really special about this gum unless you like being able to walk faster while aiming and raise and lower your weapon faster, but other than that, that's pretty much its only use, and that's why it comes in at number 59. Coming in at the number 58 spot, we got Firing on All Cylinders. It is a classic gum that you unlock at level 26 and lasts for 3 full rounds. It allows the player to fire while sprinting, similar to the Gung Ho perk from multiplayer. It is slightly better than Always Done Swiftly because you are at least able to increase your mobility while killing the zombies. However, it takes up one of your valuable gum spots, which could be used for significantly more important and better gobblegums higher on this list. So at our number 57 spot, we got Now You See Me. This gobblegum unlocks at level 34 and has 2 activations that last 10 seconds each. It is completely useless in solo since all the zombies are already following you. However, in co-op, it can be used if you want to distract the zombies away from your friends, or if you just want to be a dick and steal the random's horde that they've been training. It really has no good use other than that, which is why it comes in near the bottom of this list. At number 56, we have our first mega gum with board games. This was one of the megas introduced with Zombies Chronicles. What it does is when you repair one board at a barrier, it fixes the remaining boards at that barrier, and you only get the points from the first board repaired. It activates immediately and lasts for 5 full rounds. What the fuck? What is the point of this gum? Like, seriously, all you're doing when you run this gum is robbing yourself of gaining more points from rebuilding the barriers, which isn't a lot of points, I know, but still. Besides, it doesn't even make the barriers stronger, so this gum is really just so useless when you think about it. That's why I've ranked it as the worst mega gobblegum. Coming in just above at number 55 is going to be its twin brother, Bored to Death. The only reason why this one is higher is because it can actually kill the zombies at the barrier whenever you rebuild a board. It activates immediately and lasts for 5 minutes. Again, it is not the most useful gum to be running, but it definitely is more useful than board games since it can at least help you kill the zombies. At number 54, we have Mind Blown. This mega gum was released alongside DLC 4 with Revelations and has 3 activations. What it does is give the heads of all the zombies in your sight when activated and kills all of them. Now, this may seem a bit low for this gum, but it only works on regular zombies. This means it does nothing towards Panzers, Margwas, or other boss zombies. So that's where it falls short, as well as it only having 3 activations. Again, it's a gum that could be fun to use in lobbies with randoms, but definitely not for an Easter egg speedrun or a high round attempt. At the number 53 spot, we have Licensed Contractor. Now, I know what you're thinking. This gum sucks ass and has been known to be one of the worst megas ever created. Yeah, you're right, because all it does is provide the player 3 Carpenter power-ups, and Carpenter power-ups are definitely the worst power-up in all of zombies. There's no arguing that. Honestly, this could be probably ranked lower, but I put it at the spot mainly due to it being able to provide you points. Not a whole lot of points, it's like 600 points, which is decent for the earlier rounds, but is definitely not even useful for the later rounds, which is why it comes in at number 53. Just above that, at the number 52 spot, we have Crawl Space. This was introduced in DLC 1 alongside the Reisendrak. It has 5 activations and makes all the nearby zombies turn into crawlers. Now, this is really only useful for the Void Bow step, but other than that, it can just be a downside for the player to use since it doesn't reduce the health of the zombies. It just makes them harder to kill, especially if you have the zombies that aren't crawlers, have more zombies that aren't crawlers coming at you full speed, which is why I placed it quite low on this list. At the number 51 spot is Secret Shopper. This is by far the worst ultra rare mega gum since it only works for regular weapons and not for wonder weapons like the ray gun, wonder waff, the bows, KT4, etc. It released alongside DLC 2 with Zetsubo no Shima and is activated immediately and lasts for 10 minutes. Now I guess you could say it is helpful for your bullet weapons, sure, because it can reduce your ammo by half, especially when it's a packed weapon. But its main downfall is it not allowing you to purchase ammo for your wonder weapons, and that is why it comes in at number 51. Coming in just above that at number 50 is Head Drama. Released alongside DLC 1 with Der Eisendrak, Head Drama is another bad ultra rare mega that is essentially useless since it only lasts for the remainder of the round it was activated, not even one full round. Sure, it is helpful in taking out panzers by turning body shots into headshots, however, it doesn't work on Margwas and only lasts for the remainder of the round, so it lasts for a very short amount of time, which would make you burn through those very fast. If you're an Easter egg speedrunner, particularly for DE, then I know you'd place this higher, and fair enough, since it would help you kill the panzers quicker, but for the casual player and even the hardcore players that don't do the Easter egg speedruns on DE all that much, it's just not an ideal Gobblegum to run when you only have 5 slots. Breaking into the number 49 spot, we got Killing Time. This is the infamous shitty ultra rare mega that Lex and Codename Pizza used for their Mythbusters episodes years ago. It activates only once and makes all zombies freeze in space for 20 seconds. If they are shot, they will be killed when the time is up. It not only freezes zombies but other objects and props throughout the map as if it is frozen in time. This gum released with Black Ops 3 and could potentially be used as a good break from the zombies if on co-op. However, if you're on solo, you're better off just pausing the game since this only lasts for 20 seconds for one time anyway. Coming in just above that at the number 48 spot, we have Unbearable. It is one of the least useful megas on this list. It released alongside DLC 2 with Zetsubo no Shima. It auto-activates when a teddy bear appears in the mystery box and causes the box to respin automatically. Since this only works once, the mystery box only remains at that spot for several more spins, but before it eventually gets the teddy bear again. So, as you can see, it really is not super useful in that regard, since it doesn't make the box permanently stay in the one spot like Leroy would do in Buried. At that point, you're better off just using Immolation. Burned Out takes the number's 47 spot on this list. This mega gum was released at launch and activates immediately but only lasts for 2 hits. What it does is that whenever the player takes damage from the zombies, those nearby zombies will burst into fire, but it only lasts for 2 hits. The low amount of uses makes this Gobblegum another almost useless Gobblegum to run and not worth taking a gum slot where more powerful and better gums could go, which is why it comes in at 47. Slaughter Slide comes in at number 46 because it only has 6 activations when sliding, and the 2 lethal explosions coming from the sliding stops doing significant damage in the higher rounds. This really sucks, especially when you accidentally slide, forgetting that you have this Gobblegum active, which I've done many times. The fact that it only lasts for 6 times and is not guaranteed to kill a whole horde of zombies with a single slide makes this gum more useless than you think, and we should have just gotten this gum in perk form as Banana Colada. At number 45, we have Respin Cycle. This mega gum released with the base game of Black Ops 3 and has 2 activations where the player is able to respin the box after it has been activated. Now, it is similar to Unbearable, however, it does not prevent a teddy bear from showing up. For that, it could be placed lower than Unbearable, but it is placed higher than it because at least you get 2 chances of respinning the box rather than just 1 after you're getting a teddy bear. That may not make sense for some of you guys, but I think this is a fitting spot for this gum. Now coming in at number 44, we have Temporal Gift. Releasing alongside DLC 2 with Zetsubo no Shima, Temporal Gift is a rare mega that activates immediately and lasts for one full round, where it allows power-ups to last longer by an extra 30 seconds. Now this is not a whole lot of time, but it is definitely beneficial for the player, especially for those earlier rounds with double points or fire sale, and the later rounds with a death machine or insta-kill. The only downside is that it only lasts for one full round, which I think is too short and should have it instead at least lasted for 3 full rounds or 10 minutes. Overall, it's a decent gum that does its job with nothing really special and comes in at 44. At the number 43 spot, we have Undead Man Walking. This rare mega released alongside Dreisendrach in DLC 1. This gum activates immediately and lasts for 4 minutes. It makes all the zombies slow down to a walking speed. This is a great gum for the Grod Krovi Easter egg, especially for the Nemo step, but other than that, it serves no purpose other than to just slow down the zombies and slow down the rounds. It's more of a middle-of-the-road type of gum that just does its job like Temporal Gift, which is why it comes in at number 43. Coming in at number 42, we have Lucky Crit. This classic gum is unlocked at level 33 and activates immediately, lasting one full round. It improves the player's chances of activating an alternate ammo type or AAT, such as Turn, Deadwire, Fireworks, Blast Furnace, and Thunderwall. This is definitely helpful for the higher round players that try to get through the rounds as fast as possible, since they could take a long time to finish. However, the main drawback is that it's only for one full round. It is a classic, so it does make sense why it's not super powerful in that regard. However, I feel like it could have been a little bit better if it lasted for at least 2 full rounds, which is why it comes in at number 42. Now moving on into the number 41 spot, we have Impatient. This classic gum is unlocked at level 3 and activates immediately and lasts until the player bleeds out. This gum allows the player to respawn near the end of the current round instead of at the start of the next round. This is mainly good for those that play in public lobbies with randoms or even with friends, but is obviously not useful at all when in a solo match, duh. It is only used once before the Gobblegum disappears, so other than that, it deserves its spot at number 41. Coming in at number 40 is Armamental Accomplishment. This classic gum is unlocked at level 21 and activates immediately and lasts 3 full rounds. It allows the player to switch weapons and recover from performing melee attacks faster, as well as reload and use items more quickly. I feel like this gum is mainly useful for more casual players rather than the hardcore players, since it is useful for mainly getting out of sticky situations. Overall, it's a mid Gobblegum that could easily be forgotten, which is why it comes in at number 40. At number 39, we have Fear in the Headlights. This rare mega gum was released in DLC 2 alongside Zetsubo no Shima. It has 1 activation and lasts for 2 minutes. Any zombies seen by the player will not move except for any zombies that are behind the player. It is essentially turning the zombies into the Boo Ghosts from the Super Mario game, where you look in their direction and they freeze, but when you look away, they get closer to you. It definitely gives zombies more of that creepy vibe, but really doesn't serve as a benefit for the player unless you're playing on the giant camping on the catwalk, and that's why it comes in at number 39. Now at the number 38 spot, we got Swordflay. This classic gum is unlocked at level 6 and activates immediately, lasting for 2.5 minutes. Any melee attacks and weapons will inflict 5 times more damage to zombies. This is great for the early rounds and even the 20s if you have the Bowie knife. However, unless you plan on knifing through the whole round, then Swordflay would just not be an ideal gum to run. At number 37, we got Coagulant. Now I know what you're going to say, Jedi, why is this gum so high up? It should be way lower compared to the other ones. Well, to some extent, I'd agree. However, after using this classic gum again after a long time, it actually is pretty useful, especially if you're playing a public match and your teammates are literal bots trying to find their way around the map. It gives them plenty of time to save you since your bleed out time is extended and is activated immediately and lasts for 20 minutes. Overall, this gum is great for the casual player as well as the hardcore player that may be playing a more chill game of zombies with randoms or friends, which is why it comes in at number 37. The number 36 spot goes to Stock Option. This default classic gum activates immediately and lasts for 2.5 minutes. It allows for ammo to be taken from the player's stockpile instead of the weapon's magazine. Now, this could potentially be very powerful, especially if you're using this for weapons such as the Thunder Gun, XM53, or the Apothecant Servant during either a boss fight or simply just taking out hordes. On the other hand, it lasts for only 2.5 minutes, which I guess makes sense since it's just a classic gum. However, I feel like if the time were increased to like 4 or 5 minutes, it could have the potential of being higher on this list. Coming in at number 35, we have Arms Grace. This classic gum is useful for one reason. It allows the player to respawn with their weapons after they bleed out. Sure, it is a one-time use, but the fact that you can keep your packed weapons, especially your wonder weapons, is a time and point saver. It is arguably the better classic gums introduced, which is funny since it's one of the 5 default gums that you get when you start Black Ops 3 at level 1. Of course, this is more of a for a public lobby rather than solo because duh, you get a game over if you died, obviously. So I do think it's useful, but because it's only really used in public lobbies, it takes it down a bit compared to the other Gobblegums higher up on this list. At the number 34 spot is Ephemeral Enhancement. This Mega Gum was introduced in the base game of Black Ops 3. It has 2 activations that last 60 seconds each, and it turns the weapon in the player's hands into the Pack-a-Punch version. This is great for those that may be running low on ammo or perhaps need that extra boost to get through the hordes of zombies and are not willing to dedicate spending 5,000 points to Pack-a-Punch their weapon, especially early on in the game. So overall, I'd say it's another middle of the road type of gum that is just the right amount of useful for the player. For the number 33 spot, we got Dead of Nuclear Winter. This Mega Gum also released with the base game and has 2 activations with each spawning a nuke power-up. This is a useful gum, especially if you're doing speedruns or are casual just trying to get through the rounds. However, for this average seasoned zombies player, it does not provide much benefit to run this gum when other gums like raindrops exist, where instead of just a nuke, you get all 9 core power-ups. Nonetheless, it is a useful Gobblegum for the reasons I just explained, which is why it comes in at number 33. At number 32 is I'm Feeling Lucky. This Mega Gum is yet another one that released in the base game and has 2 activations. Each of these activations spawns a random power-up in the map. Obviously, since it's random, it could be anywhere from 2 fire sales to 2 carpenters, since it varies with each use. I am putting it here in the middle of the list since it could be very good and other times very bad. There really isn't any other way I could explain my reasoning for this placement, so that's why I'm ranking it here at number 32. Now moving on to the number 31 spot is Disorderly Combat. This Mega Gum was introduced in DLC 3 alongside Gorod Krovi. It activates immediately and lasts for 5 full minutes. This gum gives a random gun every 10 seconds, and if the player is currently holding a Pack-a-Punched weapon, then when they pick up the gum, then all the weapons given from this gum will also be Pack-a-Punched. If that weapon also has an alternate ammo type, then every weapon will be given a random ammo type. This makes this gum pretty useful overall. It just sucks that the guns are quite random, so you could have the Dingo at one moment and then get stuck with the Shiva, which would really put you down, especially on the higher rounds. And because it is so random, it drags it down a bit on the list. However, it can also be seen as infinite ammo for 5 minutes. So either way you look at it, you gotta admit that it being placed as a mid gum is a fair spot. Now coming in at the number 30 spot is Who's Keeping Score. This Mega Gum was another one that was introduced at launch and has 2 activations per gum with each spawning a double points power up. This is more effective on the earlier rounds to boost your points and is useful for both casual and hardcore players. It is an overall decent gum that I'd run if I needed extra points. However, I feel like this gum is not as good at receiving points as another gum that is placed higher up on this list, which is why it comes in at number 30. Breaking into the number 29 spot, we have Arsenal Accelerator. This classic gum is unlocked at level 30. It activates immediately and lasts for 10 minutes. It charges the player's special weapon faster. This means it affects the Apothicon Swords, the Annihilator, the Ragnarok DG4, the Skull of Non-Sopway, and the Gauntlet of Siegfried. In that regard, it makes it very useful, especially if you're doing a speedrun or just want to use your special weapons more often to get to high rounds. Overall, it's a solid classic gum and deserves its spot at number 29. At number 28, we have On the House. This rare Mega Gum was introduced at launch and allows the player to activate it one time to spawn a perk drop. It is completely random what perk the player receives, which can either be good or bad, depending on the situation. It is great, especially for co-op where each player in the lobby will receive the perk. I have used this gum many times for various reasons, and for each scenario, I have found it to be more beneficial than detrimental, which is why I believe that it is a great gum to use for either solo or co-op, and that's exactly why it comes in at number 28. Coming in at number 27, we got Unquenchable. This Mega Gum was another day 1 gum that auto-activates when the player has bought all 4 of their perks, and it allows the player to buy an extra perk. However, the perk will be lost if the player goes down. Since it's just a one-time use similar to On the House, it is not as great in that regard as other Gobblegums, but it is great since you are at least able to get to choose what your 5th perk is going to be, rather than it being random like On the House, which is why it comes in at number 27. At number 26 is Killjoy. This day 1 rare Mega Gum has 2 activations and spawns an insta-kill power-up for each activation. This is great for getting out of sticky situations as well as getting through the rounds quicker. It is ideal for both casuals as well as hardcore players to run, although I feel that hardcore players are going to use another gum that already includes this gum's ability, which we will discuss in a little while. But as is, Killjoy is a solid gum, and that's why it comes in at number 26. The number 25 spot goes to Bullet Boost. This rare Mega Gum was introduced in DLC 4 alongside Revelations. It is a great rare Mega since it allows the player to have 2 chances of getting various alternate ammo types. They are random, which kinda sucks. However, it saves the player an additional 2,500 points each time they are double papping. I have used this gum many times and have found myself mostly satisfied. Keep in mind, it only works on weapons that support AATs, such as standard bullet weapons, but no wonder weapons. Overall, it's a great rare Mega that I would definitely use for a game of zombies, which is why it comes in at number 25. At number 24 is Pop Shocks. This Mega Gum was released on day 1 and allows the player to trigger an electrostatic discharge with their melee attacks to zombies. It has the ability to instantly kill the Margwa or the Panzer. I know just by saying that some of you are thinking this should be higher up, but it is quite risky to go up to these boss zombies and knife them before they down you, especially if you have a full horde behind you. It does only have 5 activations, which is decent, but probably could be better. I know many speedrunners use this gum to get through these bosses quick as possible, which is great in that regard. But I know that the casual player will most likely not use this gum, at least not in the way that hardcore players use it. This, mixed with the other reasons said, is why it comes in at number 24. Fatal Contraption comes in at number 23. This Mega Gum was released in DLC 1 alongside DE and gives the player 2 activations to spawn a Death Machine power-up. This gum was one of the 5 I ran for my round 100 Revelations game. That should tell you everything you need to know about this gum. It is very good at helping the player. There's nothing really bad I can say about it, other than it's good at shredding through hordes and getting you through those high rounds, which is why it comes in at number 23. So coming in at number 22, we got Flavor Hexed. This Mega Gum was introduced in Zombies Chronicles. It activates immediately and selects a random Mega Gum of any rarity that is not in the player's loadout and awards it to the player. If the player doesn't bleed out or purchase another Gobblegum, then this will repeat a second time once the first gum has been used. Since it is random, it is another case of it being either very good or very bad, which is why I think placing it here rather than further down or higher up on the list is quite fair. So that's why it comes in at number 22. At number 21, we got Danger Closest. This day 1 classic gum essentially acts as PhD flopper and allows the player to be immune from explosive damage. It is unlocked at level 15 and lasts for 3 full rounds. The only thing that it does not cover is the damage being taken by the meatballs on SOE. However, it is immune from the Panzer's shocking grenades on DE. It's definitely one of the better classic gums introduced into the game. However, it just sucks that we didn't get PhD flopper instead. But overall, it's a solid gum, and that's why it comes in at number 21. Coming in at the number 20 spot is In Plain Sight. This is one of the best classic gums introduced in the game since it makes all zombies avoid the player for 10 seconds. It has 2 activations, which makes it 20 seconds total, which may not seem like a lot, but that is typically enough to escape some crazy situations and get yourself readjusted. It is not higher on this list mainly because it is only 10 seconds, which yes, it is enough for most situations. However, if you're at a really high round and the zombies are hard to kill and they pin you in a corner, then good luck getting out in time before you're able to pop both activations, and even after that if they are very, very hard to kill. For the 19th spot, we got Cashback. This rare Mega Gum came out with Black Ops 3 and has 1 activation where it spawns a max ammo power-up. This is essential for any speedrunners or high round players. I know this may seem a little too low, and perhaps it is. However, my only gripe with this gum is that it is only 1 max ammo, which yes, that's great, but if it were going to truly help the players out in round 70 plus, it would be more ideal for it to have at least 2 max ammos total, so that it can counteract the high Gobblegum prices after the first hit. Overall, it's a top tier Gobblegum, and keep in mind, number 19 is a great spot for this gum, considering that there is a total of 63 gums in the game. And number 18 is Wall Power. This day 1 rare Mega allows the player to pack a punch at any wall weapon they purchase. It is valid for only 1 use, which I think is fair, and it definitely is useful for saving time and points pack-a-punching. I know many, including myself, use it for speedruns and even for some high round runs, which is why I consider this gum as one of the best, and has definitely held up through the years as being one of the best gums introduced in the game. Coming in just above that at number 17 is Crate Power. This rare Mega Gum was introduced in DLC 3 on Garad Krovi. It is a better version of Wall Power since it allows you to pack-a-punch the next weapon taken from the box. It even pack-a-punches Monkey Bombs and Little Arnie's, which is really cool. Adding that into account has made this gum stand out as one of the better gums to have been introduced, which is why I believe it deserves this spot at number 17. At the number 16 spot, we got Idle Eyes. Now, I can already see you guys typing away in the comments, but hear me out. Idle Eyes is a far superior version of In Plain Sight. Instead of two 10-second activations, it has 3 activations that last 30 seconds each, in which all the zombies ignore all the players in the lobby for that duration rather than it just ignoring the player who uses the gum like In Plain Sight. Yes, it is a mega gum and doesn't have unlimited uses like In Plain Sight does. However, that does show one factor as to why this gum is superior. Idle Eyes was introduced in Zombies Chronicles, but I think that if it were introduced earlier in the game's life cycle, it would have been more well known and perhaps used more often than In Plain Sight. Entering into the number 15 spot, we have Anywhere But Here. This is one of the few classic gums remaining on this list, and this is because this gum is not only clutch for saving you at the last minute when you're red screen, but it also serves as a faster and more efficient way to speedrun Easter eggs. It is unlocked at level 10 and has 2 activations where it instantly teleports the player to a random location on the map, and a concussive blast knocks away any nearby zombies, keeping the player safe. Anyone that takes speedrunning seriously will use this gum, and if you're more on the casual side, then you'll most likely use this gum for the obvious reason of saving yourself from downing. Honestly, this is one of the most overpowered classic gums, and I'm quite surprised Treyarch didn't make this gum a rare mega at least. So overall, it's a well-balanced gum that is great for both sides of the player community, and that's why it comes in at number 15. At the number 14 spot is Soda Fountain. This rare mega gum was introduced in Zombies Chronicles. It has 5 activations and allows the perk limit to be ignored so that every perk you buy, a random perk is awarded along with the perk you bought. It's essentially unquenchable and on the house, but better. I often find myself running this gum whenever I don't feel like running my perkaholics, since I don't have many of those, sad times. But it really is a great gum. It's a gum that I'm sure both casuals and hardcore players enjoy, since it adds a level of enjoyment by giving players more efficient opportunities to get all the perks in the map without having to use perkaholics or other gums that would require multiple, like unquenchable or on the house. So overall, I think Soda Fountain is very deserving of its spot at number 14. Coming in at the number 13 spot is going to be Profit Sharing. This ultra rare mega gum was introduced in DLC 4 alongside Revelations. It activates immediately and lasts for 10 minutes, and what it does is that any points that you earn are also received by other nearby players and vice versa. This gum is easily one of the best for gathering points, and if you pair that with a double points or extra credit, it makes it so damn good. Obviously, this gum is useless on a solo match and is primarily only useful for matches with 2 to 4 players on it, but other than that, this gum is solid and it is deserving of the number 13 spot on this list. Coming in at the number 12 spot is Aftertaste. This OG Mega Gum activates immediately and lasts for 3 rounds. It allows the player to keep all their perks after being revived, however, it does take away the player's quick revive when playing on solo. That is really the only downside of this gum, because other than that, it serves as a major benefit for the player whether they are very new to zombies or just not that good and need that extra help to survive, which is why I think that number 12 is a great spot for this Gobblegum. At the number 11 spot, we got Extra Credit. This rare mega gum was introduced in Zombies Chronicles and has a total of 4 activations. Each activation spawns a personal points power-up, each worth 1250 or 2500 points if double points is active. In total, the player is able to earn 5000 or 10,000 points with double points. This gum is insanely useful for early round gameplay, whether you want to open up the map, hit the box, pack a punch, or buy perks. This gum allows you to do all of that whether you're on solo or co-op. It is a great replacement for shopping free if you don't have it, and it is certainly a great replacement for Who's Keeping Score if you're just running that gum alone. And that is why it comes in at number 11 on this list. Breaking into the top 10, at number 10 we got Immolation Liquidation. I mean, come on, how can this gum not be in the top 10 if everyone and their mother uses this for any of their games of zombies? It has 3 activations and each spawns a fire sale power-up with which you could spawn all 3 and stack them, so it's a total of 90 seconds hitting the box for only 10 points. Plus, the fact that this is just a mega gum makes it even better. It's not a rare mega or an ultra rare mega, just a plain mega gum. This makes it quite easy to obtain from Dr. Monty's factory and serves as one of the most useful gums all around, which is why it comes in at number 10. At the number 9 spot, we have Self-Medication. This ultra rare mega gum was introduced in DLC 4 with Revelations and has 3 activations in which the player is allowed to auto-revive themselves and to keep all of their perks, including Quick Revive. Now, the only downside of this gum would be the fact that you need to get a kill in order to auto-revive, especially if you're on a really high round. This gum provides you a ray gun to kill the zombies, but like I said, it's essentially impossible to kill a zombie with a ray gun, around 60 plus or even 50 plus. That drops the gum down the list a little bit, but if it weren't for that, it'd easily be a top 5 gum. At number 8, we got Phoenix Up. This OG Mega Gum only has one activation, however, it allows the player with the gum to revive all teammates, and all teammates get to keep all their perks. It is essentially an aftertaste for everyone else. This is a great gum to use for high rounds or Easter egg runs, especially on maps that require 4 players like Shadows, Ascension, or Shangri-La on BO3. Overall, Phoenix Up is an amazing Gobblegum that deserves its spot in the top 10, and if you disagree, then good for you. The number 7 spot on our list goes to Shopping Free. I know this gum could be top 5 material, but hear me out. This ultra rare mega is amazing since it lasts for 60 seconds once activated, and allows you to purchase anything on the map for free during that time. It is the best gum to use when opening up the map, or to simply just get through your gum cycle on high rounds when the gums cost hundreds of thousands of points. It only works for the player with the gum, however, so that does balance it out, because if everyone in a 4-player lobby were able to buy stuff for free, that would most likely crash the game. But it would be super beneficial and just absolutely crazy though. But other than that, Shopping Free is one of my favorite gums to use, and I think number 7 is a fair spot for it on this list. At the number 6 spot is Round Robin. This ultra rare mega gum was introduced in DLC 4 with Revelations. It has one activation and ends the current round and provides all players with 1600 points. The gum cannot be used in areas such as Area 51 on Moon or during special rounds like Hellhound or Space Monkey rounds respectively. There's a reason why this gum is banned from world record runs simply because of how overpowered it is in helping the player, which is why I believe that just shows why it is a top tier Gobblegum, because if it sucked, then it would not be considered as a banned gum. It definitely is a time saver if you're looking to do around 100 runs on maps, which is why I place it this high, especially since rounds 80 plus can last upwards of 10 plus minutes each. Breaking into the top 5, we have Alchemical Antithesis at the number 5 spot. This is hands down the best classic gum Treyarch added to this game, period. If you disagree, then you clearly have not used this gum that much, especially for high rounds. It essentially gives unlimited ammo since every 10 points you would make from killing the zombies is turned into 1 bullet in your stockpile. It is the last classic gum you unlock at level 35, and for good reason too, since it has 2 activations that last 60 seconds each. It affects all weapons including the Apothecon Servant, and if you have double points active, then you will receive double the ammo. This makes it even better than Cashback hands down, since it is not just a one-time use and is dragged out for a minute each use to provide the player enough time to fill their stockpile. That is why Alchemical comes in at number 5. For the number 4 spot, we got Raindrops. Raindrops is easily one of the best ultra rare megas added to the game. It was added with Zombies Chronicles, and it just makes me wonder how different it would have made the game's life cycle if it were added in earlier DLCs. It has 2 activations that each spawn all 9 core power-ups at once. These include Nuke, Double Points, Fire Sale, Insta-Kill, a Perk Bottle, Max Ammo, Death Machine, Carpenter, and Personal Points. This easily makes Raindrops one of the most OP Gobblegums ever added, and it really surprises me why they haven't banned it from world record runs. Overall, there's nothing but good things to say about this gum, which is why it comes in at number 4. Coming in at the number 3 spot on our list, we got Power Vacuum. This is easily the most broken Gobblegum in all of Black Ops 3, since this lasts for 4 full rounds and spawns power-ups more often. The drop chance is greatly increased by a landslide, since the normal cap is only 4 drops per round, and you could potentially get upwards of 100 drops in a round, or maybe even more, because it really does provide that many drops for the player. When I ran this for my round 100 Revelations run, it made it such a breeze to get through those 4 rounds that I struggled to down. You essentially have unlimited ammo from all the death machines and max ammo it provides, as well as easy to kill the zombies with all the insta-kills it drops. It really makes sense why this gum is banned from all world record runs, because it would just make them stupidly easy. This is why it comes in at number 3. At number 2 is Perkaholic. This ultra rare mega released with the base game and provides the player with all the perks on the map. It is a one-time use for each gum, and you can lose all the perks if you down. That is unless you're running a Gobblegum that saves your perks. It is the classic go-to gum that everyone wanted ever since this game came out, simply because it made you very powerful as early as round 1. The legendary status, ability, and overall benefit this gum provides the player is why it comes in as the second best Gobblegum of all time. Now, coming in at the number 1 spot, the best Gobblegum of all time is Near Death Experience. This is hands down the best Gobblegum in all of Black Ops 3, and if you disagree, then you clearly have no idea how good this gum is, especially when used in co-op. This gum was introduced in DLC 4 with Revelations and lasts for 3 full rounds. You are able to revive or be revived simply by being near other players, and all the revived players get to keep their perks. For solo, quick revive is never lost with this gum active, and you can down an infinite amount of times as long as the gum is still active. That easily makes this gum insanely overpowered and is another banned gum from world record runs. It is beneficial for both casual and hardcore players, which is why many, like myself, find it to be the best gum to run for any scenario when it comes to playing a game of zombies. So there you have it, guys. That is my ranking of every Gobblegum in Black Ops 3 from worst to best. If you enjoyed my ranking and this video, leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and let me know what your rankings and thoughts are in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. May the Force be with you.